Like how huge you looked in her thing.
Hey, how you doing? I don't know if you just heard what Kathryn said, but ego
Sounded
boost.
dirty. Sounded really
So,
dirty.
hey guys, so we're coming impromptu tonight, and we thought we'd do something a little different. So I know usually we get a lot of people that will pump out questions, and we love to answer them. But today we thought we'd have a little bit of fun. We have an intake form when people apply to work with us, and quite often when the men they fill out this form, the things that they've tried to use, the techniques, the solutions, they're society solutions. Maybe you don't know yet, but the amount of books, courses, coaches, mentors that go into my program for men, there's so many. I think it's like over 17 that have. I don't know why I said over 17. I think there's at least 17 that have um, the pseudo solutions for how you can save a marriage. And as what I really wanted to do was go through them today, because this doesn't matter if you have, a rough marriage. It doesn't matter if you guys are toxic as bad as we were. It doesn't matter if it's a sexless marriage. It's a marriage that's not what you want. That you want the baseline normal. You're striving way up here, and the normal should be down here. We should be striving for so much more. What we wanted to do was really kind of present something different. Normally, when I go on podcasts, quite often they want, give me these solutions, and why do you call them the automatic turnoffs? And by the way, when I say automatic turnoffs, these solutions automatically turn off every wife. Okay. And when I say that, I don't just mean sexually, I mean from conversations, from flirts, from texts, from anything that could progress you guys from moving forward, i.e., building the wall instead of taking the wall down. And we have a special guest tonight, so our puppy Finn. And so I really wanted to go through this because I thought it would be super, super fun to get Kathryn's perspective. A lot of you might not know this, but our programs run completely independently. We don't talk a ton about them. So we know a lot about our programs. So Kathryn knows about society solutions, and she understands now with a lot of what I did to try to save our marriage back in the day. But I thought it'd be really cool to give you guys kind of a really quick overview of these solutions, why they don't work, and why they're turning your wife off again from not just sex, but from conversation, from everything. And then get Kathryn's perspective and wherever her mind goes with it. I thought I'd just kind of throw her on the spot. You up for it?
Do I have a choice?
Nope.
I'm up for it.
Okay, so society's solutions. The idea behind this, guys, is and for a while when I really started out and I started going viral on social media, that was my thing. Society lied. Sex and marriage is real. And as you guys have seen, if you've been following us for a while, it's really evolved. Sex, I think, is the milestone. It's the flagship. It's the symptom that things are on fire in your marriage. Thanks, Finn. Appreciate the licks, but please no. Especially when I'm talking about sex. But
Gross.
the idea behind it is that I believe that our parents, even if they were great parents, showed us a terrible example. I believe that society, the way things changed with feminism coming in, rightfully so, women had to stand up for themselves, but then men had to retaliate. Or also, in addition, a lot of men like me backed away, looked for women's approval and things like that. And then we had this big mess, and that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother night. But what that did was it got guys like me out there trying to figure out how to save the marriage, how to fix the marriage, and really just make things go ugly backwards. Okay. So let's run through it a little bit. I'm going to pull up, I got some slides here for you guys. So the first thing that men think when they're trying to save a marriage and they try to bust into society solutions, these aren't just like necessarily people telling you, it's just the examples you've been shown. The first one is social cues. So I provide, I protect, I'm a great guy, I'm a great dad. Okay. What this is simple. And I provide is a really great example. Even you as a wife, are telling your husband, like, what do you do for a living? Okay, great. And you're looking at the dreams. What's the career going to look like? And so men start to think, okay, well, if I provide, then I'm doing all I need. I'm providing for the family. I'm giving my family. And so on that form that I was talking about, how many men they sit there and write, well, I just give. I just work so hard so I can pay for my family. And I have this whole big thing where it's like, man, she signed up for a fairy tale, right? It's on my story today, actually. She signed up for a fairy tale. You might have given her the kingdom, but she wants the Prince Charming, right? The guy from the beginning,
The king.
the king. Yeah, well, becomes the king, but the guy that actually truly is in the marriage. Payment is part of the security, sure, providing the roof, the future, the understanding everything's going to go on, but at the end of the day, that that's just part of the equation. It's such a small fraction of the equation. To give you some background, I mean, when we were making mad money before COVID took our business away, well, we were struggling.
Our
We
marriage
al-
was struggling.
yeah, we almost got divorced. The constant battle of trying to figure out how to move forward, money had nothing to do with it. In fact, when we lost everything, lost our house, lost our vehicles, got evicted from a place we were living in after we lost our business, that's the journey where things started to really progress in
When
our
there
marriage.
was no money.
When there was
There was no
there was
money.
zero money, man. We had nothing. All of our shit. Like I think we sold like $60,000 worth of stuff for like $6 grand.
4,000.
Yeah, I think it was 6 actually. But
Was it
but
6?
yeah, it was not a lot of money just to try to keep moving forward. Providing doesn't mean shit. Now, what it does mean though is you're an automatic turnoff if you don't provide. I mean, during you had a fear state. Remember, you were like, well, if you provided more, no, I think it was if you made more money, I'd feel like you were more of a man.
Mhm.
And I mean, at first I blew up. I was super upset. And then I realized later she's coming from a fear state, right? It's a security thing, it's a safety thing. I don't want to get too much into that right now. What I want you to realize is this: I provide, you should. You're a freaking person. If you're an adult and you're in the workforce, you're a person. Do your
And
job,
if you're an
make some money.
adult and you're not in the workforce, if there's a reason for that, great. But if there's not a reason for that, then
Fair.
get in the workforce.
Fair. But using that as a justification for why you're a great man, well, I think that's horseshit because I probably outwork most of you and I work less and still do more at home and I still make more. Like we can go on and on in this vicious, it's just stupid. I provide just as something you should do. Okay. Now, I protect. How many times are you sliding across a BMW hood to save your wife and children from kidnappers? I mean, it just doesn't happen. And if you're in a constant environment where you have to protect your wife and be a protector, well, you're not doing your job right. You're not much of a protector. But protection comes from a lot more than that. And I believe personally, the bottom line with protection is integrity. Do you follow through with what you say you're going to do? Yeah, babe, I'll pick up the milk. And if you didn't, because you were too busy, I'm going to go to the gym. I didn't.
Can we do this? Because you're going to ask me, can you do one at a time?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, babe.
Yeah.
Let's go back to providing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that you should provide, but it's not going to, it doesn't turn me on if you provide, but it
Yeah.
definitely turns me off if you don't provide because I just think, like, why do I have to provide? And I do
Yeah.
provide. Like, we
Yeah,
both
actually,
provide.
you're a mad producer, actually.
Thank you. But the good thing is that he allows me to do what I want to do, which is I want to take care of the children. I want to plan the dance lessons, and like he wouldn't know if I had to go away for a few weeks. He'd be like, okay, what day do they have this? What address? Because I do it because I want to do it. But then if he went away for a week, I'd be like, or 2 weeks, I'd be like, well, can I have your debit card? like I make money, but it's just a different dynamic. So I could, if God forbid, knock on wood, I could support myself and the children.
It's not here, you know that.
Oh, knock on wood. I could support myself and the children. I don't want to. He allows me to work and run my business more for fun, for savings, for investments, and I get to take care of the children. And then
the passion, you love working.
I do love.
Yeah,
I love my business. I call it a hobby business because it's so fun that I feel like it's a hobby. It's just that it's very successful at this point. That's way more than a hobby.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah. So like, if you weren't providing, it would be a huge turnoff. But making money doesn't turn me on. I'm not like, oh, really? You made a bunch of money? Like, let's jump in bed. That's not a thing.
No, it allows you to live.
I think
a
for
fuller
some women
life,
it is. If that's a thing for your woman, though, I would question a few things.
Yeah, I agree. Another topic, but
Yeah.
okay. So I protect. Yeah. So integrity. If you are truly, truly full of integrity and following through on your word, she can rely on you. But most men aren't. Most men, in fact, pretty much every man that I've ever worked with has incredible integrity at work, but not at home. So if she can't rely on you, what would make you think? I don't care how big, how massive, how strong, how many guns you have. I don't give a shit. If you aren't reliable, then she can't count on you. So there goes your protector card.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me with I protect is if you don't protect me emotionally, which was one of the big issues in our marriage, I learned how to protect myself.
Good point. Yeah.
And so I don't think you can protect, even if you can. And he's always been able to protect me physically. He's twice my size, but he didn't protect me emotionally always.
In fact, you destroy it when you undermine your wife and you're blaming her for everything, all the reasons she's messing up, all the reasons she's not meeting your needs, all the blah, 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 blah. So you actually destroy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the protection card for me, and I think for the women that I work with, is the emotional security, the emotional protection. Take care of my heart. I know you can take care of me physically and take care of our children and take care of sweet little Finn here as much as you don't like when he
I
licks
love
you.
this dog. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the sweetest. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
the emotional side. So if you're not and again, that's not necessarily a turn on. It's baseline. Like you should be just like I would want to protect you, and I didn't protect you either. So you have to protect each other's heart.
That's such a great point, because we get into men are so, well, it should be safe for us too, and yeah, all that's true. There's a structure, there's a foundation, there's a level of safety that needs to be built, and I mean, my take on it is it doesn't matter who's the problem, you are the solution. And when I started to provide that protection for Kathryn's emotional state, she didn't believe it right away. Your wife probably doesn't believe you either. I had a reel that's moving right now really fast, and it's all about 1,000 sticky notes, and she didn't believe it because all the crap that I'd said and undermined all the good things, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no protection there. So you're not a protector. I don't care what kind of man you think you are. If you're well, first of all, if you're watching this video, you're not in that marriage where your wife feels safe. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's as bad as we were, and if it's not as bad as we were, then you're like, what's your excuse? Come on, get to work,
And when it comes to emotional protection, I think the reason that I'm emphasizing you needing to protect me more is that men are physically, in most cases, bigger than we are and more physically intimidating. And so when you're more physically intimidating, you do need to be more emotionally in tune and a little bit more sensitive to your wife's needs, because I could throw a tantrum and really it's not really going to affect you, because what am I going to do if you throw a tantrum? It's actually scary.
Let's
he doesn't do that anymore, but I had to call the police on his tantrums. If I throw a tantrum, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's the thing.
You have to call the police on me? No.
So
Finn could defend.
We both had the toxic behaviors where we both thrown some stuff, but when I threw some stuff, I destroyed a house. When Kathryn threw some stuff, it's like a mob. I couldn't even break. Okay, and this is the typical dynamic. I know that's not for everybody, but it's the typical dynamic. Okay, I'm a great dad. Good, you should be. You signed up. That has zero bearing on your wife. Zero.
We expect you to be a great dad when we have children with you.
Yeah.
When you're not, it's a huge turnoff. When you are, again, it's baseline. We want to encourage you to continue to be a great dad. We want to support you in being a great dad, but it's not like, oh my gosh, you handled, I don't even know.
Got the kids dressed.
Thank you so much for packing the kids' lunches. Let's go to bed right now. No, that's not how it works.
Well, the example I like to use.
Maybe for some women it does, but that's like another level of desperation.
I would love to talk about that because that's all over social media. It's always a thing that goes viral where it's like, you think this turns me on, but this is what turns me on. He's wearing an apron and he's packing the kids' lunches and he's cleaning the house and he's doing. Okay, the idea is simple. It's not actually that turns you on. It's that
the apron with the naked body underneath.
Well, not for most men, but if you are,
their wives think they're sexy though. They better.
Do they? I don't know. We got to work on it.
Don't look at my husband. You look at your own husband.
Here's the thing.
I'll cut you.
Here's the thing. Go back to provider and we'll use the great dad. The two examples. Okay. So like you bring me a plate of dinner. I'm not like, throw the food away. It's time to fuck. No, man, I eat the
I'm
food.
so turned on by the food. Yeah.
No, I eat the food. You provide. Same thing. Kathryn will, bend over and help the kids with their boots. Yes, I love her bum. But I'm not going to be like, lock them up. It's time to go. No, you don't do that.
Because it's not about me helping with the boots.
No.
It's the act of bending over.
That's right.
You actually probably forgot that the kids even had feet.
Exactly. So you think that your wife is hot for you because you're a great dad. And by the way, you're not a great dad. I'm sorry, but are you taking parenting courses? Are you reading books? Are you leveling up? Are you learning? Are you doing things?
Are you still yelling at your children? Are you punishing your children? Are you shaming your children?
Do you date your children? Like there are so many different things. Just because you provide a roof and you're there doesn't mean you're a great dad.
No.
Sorry. And I'm not attacking you because I suck. Kathryn once said, you need to love them too, I had a lot to learn. So I'm not crying. All of this shit is the stuff that I made mistakes on.
He's just pointing out things that you may or may not need to address.
Yes, and most men don't have to address everything, by the way. In fact, most guys are way better dads than me, but then I still level them up because I learn more than them. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. All right, next one is I'm a great guy, and that's really the rest of what society solutions are all about. So let's get into it, okay? So order. Now, I like that this is O and it's the next one because this is one that I really want to address because order is what I really I categorize into the negative, toxic bullshit that you see on the internet, or glorified dating advice, using manipulation to control the situation. So let me give you some examples, right? So you fall into the red pill kind of shit, and you are like not telling your wife where you're going anymore. All right, now she's nervous and she's scared. Okay, cool, right? Or maybe you're going to say something like, if you don't fuck me, well, there's this girl at Starbucks. She wants me. Yeah, yeah, she wants me. Or maybe you're not
Does
quite
that
as
work?
we'll talk about that. But maybe it's not quite as aggressive, and it's like, well, I haven't cheated on you. I'm that good of a man. Okay, this is all toxic. Okay, this is toxic. Negative emotions will never move you forward long term. Does it work? Kathryn asked. Hey, yeah, you know what? A lot of guys that I've worked with, I didn't do any of that shit. I didn't. I don't think I fell into any of those traps. Did
Oh,
I?
you did the like, where are we going out? You fell into it like you had a very small
Minor.
yeah,
So
but it
I
was when
caught myself.
you were trying to just, we were not doing well and you were just trying to figure out what to do,
Yeah,
and you were
during
trying
the learning phase. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
but it wasn't anything like you never said to me, there's a girl at Starbucks that'll have me, and I would have been like,
Oh my gosh, the stories that I hear
can't even
from some
imagine
men,
what
like,
I would have
yeah.
said to that.
And if you get onto like a red pill Reddit, like, oh my gosh, it's disgusting. Here's the thing. Here's why it works short term for you. What happens is your wife doesn't want to lose. Like what Kathryn's project is all about, keeping families together. The women who want, or do you want to say it? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so my project is about women who don't want to lose their families. And so I work with women who they don't even know that they want to save their marriage, to be quite honest. They just know that they don't want to lose their children and they don't want to lose their family, and their husband is part of their family, and so they want to do everything that they can. They deep down they think that they still love their husband. Some of them say that they don't love their husband. Some of them say that they hate their husband. They're repulsed. There's all kinds of things. But they're the mama bear. I do work with women that don't have children, but most of the women, their motivating factor is not the husband. My motivating factor was not my husband. And I'll say this, I've said this so many times, but we were in an article recently who said Kathryn decided to put herself first and her relationship with her children first. And the beautiful byproduct, I love the way they said it, the beautiful byproduct was the relationship with her husband. I got my marriage back. I got my husband back. I didn't even know that's what I wanted because I was so shut down. I was so bitter. I was so resentful. And that's what I got back. And I fell in love with my husband again. And so I'm looking for the women who they want to keep their family together. Some of them are like, I love my husband, but I hate my husband. Like there's always like a back and forth with what they think. And those are my people. I don't want to lose my children. I'm devastated to get divorced. I don't know what I would do without my family. I love my husband, but I can't see it anymore.
So order is really about taking the manipulation route, right? I don't want to lose my children. No, like no woman, no person actually, guys. Nobody signs up for the bucket list item of divorce on the resume. See my kids 50% of the time. So when you use things like fear, when you use things like insecurity, jealousy, negative emotions to manipulate, to create the order that you want, right? To take control. Well, that's not long lasting. How can that possibly last? Sure, she might ravish you in bed right now. She's so afraid. Oh my gosh, I don't.
Nobody wants fear sex. That's even
No,
worse than
that's
job sex.
seriously, right? And when I talk about 6 types of sex, I'm not even covering fear sex. There's a reason I don't talk about angry sex, because it's fucking bullshit. So you need to lose order right away. Okay, let's talk about chores. Chores. This is classic for nice guys, for pleasers, and we'll get into that more later. But like, if I do more around the house, then if she sees me, and I have a reel that did 8 million views or something, and it was like, hey, honey, I did the dishes, I gave the kids a snack, I tidied the living room. She doesn't give a shit. You're an adult. She's not your mom. She's not your maid. So when you do things for approval, for validation, for maybe getting sex later, well, she's pretty upset. She thinks this is stupid. No wife is sleeping with her, or no, sorry, no mother is sleeping with her child. So if you want to have a prosperous marriage, as in a partnership, this ties into being a provider. I don't care how much you work. I don't care if you work out of town. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're an adult. If your wife wasn't with you, you would still have to provide. You're going to be paying. You're still going to have to be a great dad, and you're still going to have to take care of your home. So clean your own skid marked underwear. Clean out your own blowouts of the toilet. Pick up after yourself with the dishes. Come on. It's not just about I mow the lawn and so she cleans the house. Are you fucking kidding me? Wives are capable, and they're not. If you don't think she is capable, they are. They will figure it out. They'll hire somebody. Oh, she can't get a job. She doesn't, because she's not the provider. They do it every day. They call me, and those guys need to save their marriage. Guys, this is a thing. You do chores because you're actually involved. Okay. You're not helping.
They're not actually chores. Like
It's
your
your
parents give you
responsibility.
chores.
Exactly.
They're just things that have to be done.
Come on.
It's not a chore.
Come on. And we had this one reel that did pretty well months ago. And it was like, well, come on, I provide, I give you all of this. And she's like, well, I changed a bum. Man, most men that I speak
I love that
to,
reel.
seriously.
I cleaned the cars, and I'm like, I cleaned a bum.
Yeah. Most men that I speak to, most men, not all men, lots of men are really great dads. They can't even handle the house for 2.5 hours without freaking out. Never mind a week. Okay. Just like Kathryn said, like I would need to prep him for the dance lessons, for this and that. Yeah, totally. But there's something different about me than most men, that I can handle it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we did a lot of work so that you'd be able to handle it.
Yeah, I did a lot of work too. Like you have to be open to this.
That's what
Yeah.
I meant.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the point is, guys, doing things like chores to get approval, get validation, to get sex, to be noticed, that's never going to work, because she's not your mom, she's not your maid. And I love this saying, no mom is sleeping with her children. Okay. So just be an adult. And it's not about getting action. Again, it's kind of like the other stuff we talked about earlier. This just means you won't turn her off, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to be a turn on. But this kind of thing, being involved in home, means that you're going to have an opportunity to be a partner at home. What do partners have? More communication, more intimacy, more fun, more life, right? You have anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's a super tangent though.
Oh, you mean because of the roles and stuff?
No.
What do you mean?
The whole no mom is sleeping with her children. I just want to address, we get a lot of exposure. And unfortunately, I've worked in like areas where unfortunately that actually is happening. So I don't know like how far this video will go, but if you are a mom sleeping with your child, I just want you to reflect on that and think about that there are other ways to live, and no matter what happened to you, you can always stop and break the cycle, because it actually does happen.
Okay, baby.
Yeah.
I think I was being.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It
just makes me sick every time, just because
heart.
I've seen too much of that kind of thing.
I'm sorry, baby. Yeah.
But people might see it. And I just had the opportunity to say, you know what, just to reflect on it.
Yeah, and reach out.
There's help. There are help for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I give. This is so remember I said these are society solutions, and these are in a ton of resources out there. But they talk about giving gifts like jewelry, like flowers. I really don't believe that's where it ends. I believe that it's ongoing. It's your compliments. When you say I love you, and you're expecting an I love you in return, this is a covert contract. This is if I give to get. You will never get anywhere in life. Guys, forget your relationship for a second. You'll never get anywhere in life if you give to get. It doesn't work that way.
Example of the mixer.
The mixer? What do you mean?
You remember when you bought me a mixer? Do you remember that story?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So I used to give to get, and I was the king of all these mistakes, by the way. In fact, every bit of my content is my mistakes, my lessons. But so what happens as a man, and by the way, you don't have to have the worst upbringing with your parents. When you and your wife disconnect, you develop into this kind of guy that I was. You may not be as far along as I was, thank God. But the point is that you fall into the same patterns, and it's with every single man, over 2,200 guys in the last year. It's all of them. So you give to get. So Kathryn's talking about this mixer. So I gave her this mixer, and Kathryn's not the best when it comes to details, like noticing everything around.
That's really nice. I actually am totally oblivious.
Like, no, you're okay. I mean, she can't find her coffee cup or her phone half the time.
If it comes to pets or children, I can completely be trusted. When it comes to anything else,
yeah.
We
lost her coffee cup for like a month, and then she found it, and there was a lot of mold in that thing. Man. Your phone? I don't know.
My phone gets
every 4 days. I got to like find her iPhone on my phone. It's fun. Anyways,
and that was my church mug. It was from the church that we go to. I love it. I use it every morning, and it was full of mold. We cleaned it. I cleaned it. Yeah. Most people would throw it away if they found it, but it's my favorite mug.
I would have definitely thrown it away. Yeah,
I cleaned it.
Now, so I gave Kathryn this mixture, and I got fucking mad because I sat it right in the middle. Like you had to step over it. Like you literally, you couldn't even done like a twirl, like a football twirl.
It was against the wall. wall.
Yeah, but
But
it was
just
there. And so
it was,
I opened this house up. It was wide open. Like
there was
it might as well have had the bat signal on it, as far as I'm concerned. And I walked up to Kathryn, like, I don't know I think it was like I waited like a day or maybe like maybe it was only 4 hours. Who knows back then?
who knows, they
But
were crazy.
when and I lost my mind because I gave her this mixer and I thought she would have loved it.
And I did say thank you. It's not like I wasn't.
Yeah, oh yeah, you did. She always said thank you.
But
when you get into this state of like, I need you to want me. Again, guys, this could be not just sex. This could be just the appreciation to know you're good enough. Oh my gosh, I lost it because what? This mixer isn't good enough? Like what?
Actually, what he said was, you suck at getting gifts.
Yeah,
and I was like,
oh yeah, you know why? Because love languages, right? Everybody's all about the love languages, and I use them totally different. I think they're important, but I think people have bastardized it. And they use the 5 love languages like to get their own needs met instead of doing what it's for, which is to meet your partner's needs. Eventually or ultimately, you have a cooperative, reciprocal relationship. But people bastardize it, and that's what I was doing. I was like, she's gift giving's up there, so I'm like, oh right, yes, I got this mixer. She wants this thing. I think it was hundreds of dollars, and I'm like, come on, like. You suck at giving gifts.
Because I answered with my love language, which is affirmation. So I answered verbally.
Exactly.
Which he didn't want. That is not what he wanted. Saying thank you and telling him how great he was, that is not what he wanted. Actually, I got yelled at, which is the opposite of a words affirmation. That's exactly what a words of affirmation person doesn't need. So now I don't even want the mixer. It was a beautiful mixer. We did keep it. But
now here's the problem. So go back to society solutions. When you are giving to get, you can never. It's just like chores or providing. It's kind of the same, except for it's narrowed down. You're not going to get anywhere. It doesn't matter, guys. If it's a compliment, if it's an I love you, if it's a mixer, God forbid if you're going down the route where I did, where I completely sabotaged everything. That's typically what happens is you start to sabotage everything. Okay, let's go on. Ego feeding. This one also, I break away from all the resources on this because they'll talk about pretending other women don't exist. So like we'll watch reality shows. A hot tip for you. Women like drama. Like, come on. Romance novels, 50 Shades of Grey, blah, blah, blah. Like, so give them a reality show. Get the fix. Anyways, we'll move on to that another day. But so we watch reality shows, which I've also learned to embrace. I actually quite enjoy now too, because you get into it a little bit with your wife and then boom, something might happen. Like, oh, that blonde's kind of hot. Oh yeah, but you're way prettier. Yeah, but she's got a really nice ass. Oh no, your ass is like, woo, it's the hottest ass in the world. And the resources that all teach this stuff, that's what they talk about. Where, and I did that a lot too, I think. But I also came from a different loving state.
We had a different,
different kind of dynamic.
We had a different dynamic with it. Like that's different. That's a whole nother.
That is probably we could do a whole series on that. Not even just a video, a series on that. Like we believe that you should be tunnel vision towards your spouse, and there's a lot that goes into that, which is why I said it could be a series. But the resources talk about it like that. Like, oh no, but your legs go on for miles, and she can tell if her legs are hotter than the chick on TV or the person that you're seeing at the bar or walking on the sidewalk. But what really freaking gets me that's not addressed in any of these resources is simple. Like, I can't go anywhere with my wife without some sleazebag dude with his wife elevating my wife up and down, staring at her, giving her a smile, doing whatever. Like, how disrespectful in front of your wife. So what I think about ego feeding is different than all resources. I do believe that you shouldn't lie. You should have integrity. So if Kathryn says that chick is hot, let's say, yeah, she's pretty if she's pretty. And we had to do a lot of work to get through my insecurities, my crap with that, the crap that I put on Kathryn with that. But it's really, to keep it simplified, it's integrity. You don't have to be a douchebag or an asshole, a jerk. You can be real. Your wife is not stupid.
Yeah, you can be real, but you don't have to like pour your heart out and tell your wife how smoking hot you think the person on TV is. You just don't have to.
Yeah, it's not you just reflect. And some of you will be like, oh my gosh, like my wife would lose her mind. How could you say that she hits you? And listen,
just be careful what you say.
You just have to be a gentleman. And if she does that, there's a whole
gentleman. That's
be a gentleman. Right, there's a whole tangent we can go on there with how you love your wife through whatever she's feeling. But whatever. The point is, just have integrity, okay? But be a gentleman. Don't be a douche.
And women, if you are doing that thing where you're like, oh, she's kind of pretty. If you're baiting your husband and he says, yeah, you're right, she's kind of pretty. There's nothing wrong with seeing another attractive person. It's what you do with that thought. You know, for me personally, if I see someone who I have like even a smidgen of attraction to, I shut it down right away because I don't want my mind to go there. I'm human, so it can go there, but I don't allow it.
And guys,
so
yeah,
if he were to say, oh, that person is super ripped or super jacked, I would take a look and I'd be like, yeah, you're right, super ripped. And then that would be it for me. Like, I'm not going to sit there and stew and fantasize about that person, which I know some women think it's okay to look. It's just not okay to touch.
men think the same thing too. Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
It's not okay. You can, if you look and you notice and you think that that person is attractive and that makes your mind wander, and it makes your down parts water, then you shut that off. Seriously. You shut that down. That is not okay.
That's right.
Because you know what? That's one of the steps to infidelity. Like, it's just, you don't need to be
It's the
looking at
path.
someone
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
You look at your husband that way. And if your husband isn't doing that for you, which
It's what we fix.
a lot
Yeah.
of the time, like in our marriage, that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
happened with us. But I still
She used to
wasn't.
say, "I have the sexiest man on the planet," and I think it was repulsive or gross.
Repulsive was my
yeah,
word.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, there were this is a whole nother conversation, but again, I remember thinking, like, what if my mind wanders and seeing someone and thinking, like, no, you bring it back because you want to save your marriage. You want to be with your husband or your wife. I'm speaking to women right now because I speak to women, but it's the same thing.
It is.
So
yeah.
you don't, so again, with the ego feeding. So if I'm not going to, it came down to baiting. If I say, oh, I think she's really pretty, it's fine for my husband to say, yeah, she's really pretty. I don't expect him to say, yeah, she's a smoke show. She's super sexy. I want to do her. Like, you don't have to go where your mind might go. And your wives, just a little piece of information, your husbands, whatever you think when you see an attractive man, your husband has like a Rolodex in his brain where these women are burned into their brain. And so it's like a Rolodex of like attractive things that might flash through their mind at any moment and they can't control it. Don't bait your husband, and don't get upset if they make a mistake. If they step outside of your marriage, fine. But if they're honest about something, then just work with your husband and be like, okay, how do we fix this?
And that's good, baby. And the other part of ego feeding that is not really brought up is what I believe is ego feeding yourself. This is not mentioned anywhere, but it's that toxic shit. It's the same thing where it's like enjoying and embracing somebody, that chick at Starbucks, actually taking all of that affection in, all of that adoration in, all of the flirts, whatever, the banter. Same thing happens on social media. We're seeing it too much all the time, where you're literally trying to make yourself feel good. There's another version of that too, which is porn, and which is checking out and scrolling through Instagram. And you could argue me all day long, but the reality is simple. You're doing that imagining that you're getting what it is that you want, and you're feeding your own ego, which is pulling you away from everything you want. And the reason why this ties into a society solution, because obviously it doesn't sound like fixing your marriage. The reason is this, because it feeds into your justifications when we get to the next one, which is talking. It feeds into all the blame, all the reasons why you are justified to do what you need to get your needs met, and all of these things. And so I think it's really, really important to understand ego feeding is a massive problem on two fronts that are not addressed in society's solutions everywhere where people are talking. Okay. All right.
No.
Yeah, please.
Porn, and this is for women and for men. If you're watching porn, did you know that a lot of the women that are in porn are actually trafficked? So if you're watching porn, there's some women that do it voluntarily, and there's some women, a lot of women that are in porn that they're not doing it voluntarily. This is the sex slave industry. And if you are watching porn, you're perpetuating that. That's somebody's daughter that was probably taken.
That could be your daughter taken down the road.
Yeah.
Right.
So
there's so many reasons to lose
a lot
porn,
of people don't. A lot of people don't know that, and that's such a huge. I only learned it recently within the last year.
Yeah, you told me that, like, I think it was a few months ago, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I've never really been a porn guy, but I mean, I've had my issues. Another tangent, but
minor.
the minor for me, yeah, for men, for the way it works, but there's so many reasons you should not be on porn. I talk about it a lot in what I do with my program, but when I heard that, that
should be a game changer.
I look at my daughters and I'm like, fuck, man, like everything should be shut down. Yeah. Everything should be shut down immediately.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get into the talk. This is again twofold. Partly what they talk about in Society Solutions and all the resources, and our spin on it, my spin on it. Talking and the talk. So everybody in society, in these solutions will tell you, don't talk to your wife about not having sex. Okay. And then flip side, everybody will tell you communication is key. Talk about it. Go to therapy. Learn to communicate. Blah, 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 blah. And I have this whole thing. It's all about conversation, not communication. And the reason is simple. If you don't need to communicate because everything is a conversation in the beginning. Think about it. A lot of you did this. How many kids do you want? How many? That's an issue that you have to address. It's just that you're not at the issue state. How much sex do you like? I like sex 1 to 3 times a day. How much? Okay, you do all of this in the beginning. It's a conversation. And so what you're trying to do when you communicate is, without the skills to actually move forward, you're taking 10 steps backwards. You'd be better off taking a break and not fighting and fighting and fighting, going in this tailspin, out of control, always going backwards in time, but never when anything was good. Even if it's regulated by a therapist you don't even see for the next week, 2 weeks, 1 month. Where's the real-time support when you can't fucking make it through because you keep making mistakes? Yeah, you need somebody who's with you. Okay, it's not that therapy is terrible, which we say it is, because you don't.
It has its place. It just doesn't compare to what we do.
Not real-time support.
And we might be biased, but the results stand for themselves. We've had people that have been in therapy for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they come to our program and they fix their marriage and they become a stronger woman, stronger man. So we could be biased, but the results stand for themselves.
Forget results for a sec. Just use logic. And if somebody's in an emotional state, you won't hear this right now. But real-time support. Here's your homework. See you in a week. Okay. Come on. You leave the therapist's office, quite often you're upset, or they're on one side, or you don't feel heard, whatever. And now you have to wait. Real-time support versus wait. Yeah. That's all I need to say. You can figure that out. Yeah. It's not that we use a lot of techniques from therapy. I had 14 years of therapy. Kathryn is highly educated with therapeutic methods. And Gottman's some of the best marriage therapists in the world, for example. Well, guess what? We're a team. We know what to do, right? So real-time support with knowing what to do, it's quite a different thing. Even some of the best marriage therapists in the world, by the way, are now coaching instead of providing therapy. Yeah. One of my favorites is doing that now. Why? Because it's real-time support.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. But the solution that they are all providing in these pseudo solutions is talk to your wife. Talk to her about why she doesn't want to have sex with you. And so you do. Why don't you want me? What would turn you on again? Why don't you like sex? And she doesn't even know half the time. I'm too tired is a whole different meaning, right? To me, my first belief with I'm too tired is I need a fucking partner, right?
Like, there's so many layers.
There's so many layers.
First of all, she is too tired, but she's just too tired for you. There's other things that are getting in the way there. Mm-hmm. And I think with the talking thing, it is good to talk, but if you do not have the skills, one of the things that we believe is that if you go into these conversations, these conflict-infused conversations, without the skills to get through conflict, you are making it worse. So you can go in thinking, I'm such a great communicator. I'm going to communicate through these issues. That's why he says communication versus conversation. Communication has a bad rap because you go in to communicate to your partner. But when you're in the beginning of your relationship, you would never call it communication. You would call it conversation. You would call it chatting. And so if you go in without the skills, which, let's be honest, most of you, there's 86 people watching this right now, probably 6 of you have the skills. Maybe none if you're watching us, actually. We just got the skills a few years ago. So
and we work at them all the time.
Every day, and we still fail sometimes.
And then we learn new skills and support the old skills.
That's
like
right.
It's a stack, right?
Yes, talking is important. We don't want you to misunderstand, but you can't talk without the skills. And there's some things that you shouldn't be talking to death. There are things that you need to do aside from talking.
Most people that are talking about why we're not having sex or intimacy or why we can't get through issues, most of you, all you're doing is perpetuating. You're having 5,000 talks of the same freaking talk and you're getting the same points, which is why every time it gets worse, which is why things get better at first because you're in love, and then things get worse because you're in hate, right? And then you're back to in love. And then and it's both of you. It's both. And it's the only way that we know that makes this different is when you stop talking, more action. While you have action, you learn some skills and you start to implement those skills while the action for the rest of the life supports the safe environment, because everybody wants a safe environment to be themselves.
And it has to be the right action. Some people will say, less talk, more action. Talk, it's important to say what you want, but the action, you need to back it up, and you have to have the right action. I think that people will mistake what action actually should look like.
Well, yeah.
And they'll say, I did this and I did this and I did this. And it goes back to some of the other things that we just outlined in the acronym here. The I give and the I provide and those actions are great, but those aren't what we're necessarily speaking about. We can talk about that a different day. Let's move on to number Y.
Number Y.
Yeah.
The point is, we'll take it from us. We had 5,000 talks about every issue. especially sex.
In a day.
In a day. And those talks turn into 3-day lectures. Some of you know what I'm talking about. They just don't stop. They just keep on going. Don't do what doesn't work. You can tell it's not working. So stop it. Try something different. Okay. All right.
If you're a man and you're doing that, you're lecturing your wife for 3 days on anything, please just reach out to my husband, because he does have the recipe to stop doing that. And if you're a wife and you're going through that, please reach out to me.
Yeah,
nobody needs to be going through.
I actually feel like that's one of the most abusive things that could be in a relationship is, and it doesn't have to be 3 days. It could be a whole day lecture, and that leads to the shutdown, to the angry outbursts and the tantrums and whatever on both sides. It's one of the most disgusting and abusive things that I think that people are on about toxic behaviors, but nobody says the 3-day lectures or the 24-hour lectures or the keep me up all night lectures.
You're not the only one.
No, you're not.
We've worked with thousands of people at this point, and he's not the only person that would wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning to discuss something that I did 5 years ago.
You can't go to bed angry, because that's what everybody tells you.
No, go to bed. If you're angry and you don't know how to get through it, you don't know how to talk, you don't have the skills, go to bed.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. Look at it this way and we'll move on.
Or call me. I can help you. Don't call me.
Look at it this way and then we'll move on. The point is simple. If you stopped talking for just say 30 days and learn some skills, you will be light years ahead.
Yeah.
Light years ahead. But if you don't, and you keep doing what you're doing, how many months, years, whatever? I mean, we get all kinds. It's been 6 months, it's been 2 years, it's been 15 years. We get all kinds. How many years? Because you didn't take the 30 days to learn some skills.
Yeah.
And practice them real time, like we talked about earlier.
And it's 30 days because we teach it in the fast forward method, because we made all the mistakes, all of them.
Yeah. Actually,
let's move on.
Okay. Yeah.
And then because we have quite a few questions that we can go through.
Okay.
But we still need to stay on time.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Yes, man. So the last one is the classic happy wife, happy life. This doesn't work for either man or woman, by the way. Like, you need to be comfortable with who you are and what you want. But specifically for men, when I teach this, I mean, come on. I know that you've been taught this. This is a happy joke. Everybody, come on, man, I'll give you a tip. Happy wife, happy life. But the reality is you're letting your wife take responsibility for everything in your life. And maybe you don't actually care what's for dinner. I don't give a shit. She just wants some structure, some direction, if not structure, at least opportunity to have a man who's involved with choices. I want chicken or fish for dinner. Actually, I just want a steak. Or I'd like chicken, if those are the two options.
We don't eat chicken in this house.
Well, we don't eat in our house. Yeah, sorry. I should probably change that now that we don't. Yeah. We have a bunch of chickens running around.
We have chickens.
Pooping everywhere. It's awesome. Anyway.
Brings them
joy. It brings them joy.
It does. It brings me joy.
Brings them joy.
It does.
All right. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, baby.
Have I said thank you lately?
You say thank you every day. Gratitude's important. That's not on here, but it should be. All right. So. Here's the thing.
By the way, there's other things that I do that make it okay to have chickens in the house.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Let's just say
gratitude doesn't just come in the form of thank you. Let me tell you.
I just was going to make a comment.
Intrigued.
Roosters have another name. What is it? So, happy wife, happy life. It boils down to you making decisions, being involved. You know, I remember, and I can't remember where we talked about this. Hopefully, it wasn't the other live the other day, but I think it was an interview. But it was. I remember this party. I'm pretty sure it was a party. There was at least people coming over, and Kathryn was really upset. And then I was just like, oh, I'm involved. And then I realized, like, when I was in the shower, I was like, oh man, she just needs me to like get involved, make a decision. And Kathryn is like the party queen. Kathryn, she loves to plan. That's why she is like, she just wants to do that, plan all the plans, do all this and that.
Sure.
But to be involved and actually make a decision, to care, to at least say, this is what I would prefer. Something. And most men are so stuck in, I don't need to, you're running the show. And this is one of the ones.
And I think I wanted help with like setup or something. You thought that I didn't want to help. I think that was the situation.
Yeah, it was like so we sometimes when we're not getting along, you're trying to pull back because you don't want to do it wrong. You don't want to upset her. You like, what if my decision doesn't align? Right. So I remember an example when I was starting to change things. I started to realize, like, when we were in Kelowna, but I can't remember where we were going or what we were doing. And you're like, where do you want to go? And I was like, oh, let's go for ice cream or Dairy Queen or something like that. Right. The point was like just starting to actually get involved. So she doesn't have to be like, okay, well, I don't know what I want to do. And you never know what you don't even care. What color is the room going to be? I don't care. Pick a fucking color, man. Like, be somebody with an opinion, be involved. Because, and this is one of the ones, again, where your wife has almost taught you this in a way. Like, like when you came into my life and you were like, okay, I'm gonna even take care of your son from a previous relationship, take care of your son. I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna help you at the business. I'm gonna. She started running the show, and with the best intentions, but nobody signs up for the same monotonous thing every single day for the rest of their life doing it alone. That's called Cinderella. That's not the fairy tale. Not Cinderella post king, post Prince Charming. Cinderella with the wicked stepsisters and the mom, except for you're the one who's wrapped up as all three of those personalities. Or is it three sisters? I can't remember.
I think there's two sisters.
Two, that's what I thought. Yeah. So all three of them, you're all of them in one, and she's just your bitch cleaning up, making all decisions, running everything. This is not fun. This sucks. And plus, now we get a lot of heat on this too sometimes, but most women do want somewhat of a leader, some structure, somewhat of a direction, right? Not saying women can't be capable. I have one of the strongest women on the planet. She's all over the world, global, doing her thing. Published. One of your things was in the Oscars. Like she's, in a lot of ways, you're way further than I am. That's a strong woman.
We're just different,
right? But we have
Thank
different strengths, and we put them together. You can't do that if you're just telling your wife to make all the decisions. You also can argue, well, then she's making all the decisions, so I am giving her strengths. Yeah,
That's a
but
good
then you're
example
not
because I
doing.
can make all the decisions.
You
And-
can't. Women,
and
most
I
women
like
can.
and I like to make a lot of decisions, but as powerful and strong as I am, I still really welcome.
You don't want to do it alone.
No, I don't.
Otherwise, she'd be alone.
Yeah.
Like this is the thing. So let's not belabor that anymore. I think that should just go without saying. You need to be involved. Own who you are and what you want. This yes man has put his wife on a pedestal. He's so afraid to upset her. He's so afraid to, oh, what if I don't? What if I make her angry? We're not gonna have sex later. This, like, just whatever you want, baby. And I know the best intentions behind that because I was that guy, like severe. But all it does is push your wife away.
Yeah, just put you behind.
Yeah. All right, let's do some questions quick. I don't know if we'll get time to all of them, but let's try to quickly run through it here. So,
can you make that bigger so we can see it?
Which part, babe?
That part, so that I don't have to put my face in the camera and everyone can see out my.
I
nose.
don't think I can make this bigger. I can
Okay,
try to
you
zoom
guys
like
get to
this.
see my pores.
I can zoom like that. There we go. All right. Yeah, we do tell it like it is. We're always going to be real and honest. Kansas, cool.
So good. Women and men are wired a little different.
Yes, they are. Yeah. And that's why, by the way, our programs are like we teach so much of the same stuff, but also different things because men need it a certain way and women need it delivered a certain way. And then also men and women need slightly different things because we're going to respond differently, right? Now you're not safe, Dawn. I don't know what that means.
Well, you don't have to address the ones that were like live. Probably I said something that now you're not safe if you lost it or something.
Oh, gotcha.
What about a man? This is the first question from Will. What about a man that doesn't want to lose his family, but the woman says it feels like it's just delaying the inevitable?
Yeah. So, Will, great question. That's exactly why most men come to me is that they have to get their wife to follow. They have to get their wife to be actively engaged again. Right. So I describe it like this. You put all the parts under the hood and now your wife is going to be confused. There's a brand new car in front of the jogger. Like, where'd this car come from? You're this brand new guy, okay? But all you got to do is show up on the track and keep running that track. And I'm going to show you how to get your wife to be so confused that she's rammed into the side of your car, that she's taking your tires and trying to light them on fire, that she's trying to take the checker flag. But, dude, she's just the pace car. Get out in front, set the pace of the race, and then your wife can start to have a different idea. Most wives don't believe you. That integrity thing we talked about at the beginning of the episode, okay? They don't believe you. You're not reliable. She can't count on you. That's why you'll hear things like, why didn't you do this years ago? I'm really mad. And is this just going to go away? I'm not going to fall for it again. You just want sex, blah, blah, blah. Dude, if you just show up and keep running the track, she can start to believe that it's real because you're not stopping. Don't let her take you off the track. Just keep going. Good.
There's some questions that we can't answer because we don't have enough background. So I'm just going to keep scrolling through. From Trinidad. Wow. Cool. Let's answer this one. My other half of 11 years thinks he's entitled to have sex, but gets angry with me when I say no. I'm a mother of 4, full-time student, and also takes care of the house. Yet when he comes home, he expects to have sex. I don't know how to explain to him that a relationship is not based on sex, and it starts an argument. Please help with some advice. So I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to say, first of all, I respect what you're doing, but he's not, so it sounds like a gratitude problem. He's not showing gratitude for what you're doing, and you're probably not showing gratitude for what he's doing. So he's out, he's working all day. Your husband has needs, and I take heat for this all the time, but your husband has needs. It doesn't mean that you just need to roll over and do it, but there are steps that you need to take to connect with your husband so that when he does come home, you're not just thinking about your kids. You're not just thinking about school. You're not just thinking about the mess. You married this man. You are choosing to be with him. If you're not choosing to be with him, then you can choose not to have sex with him. But if you're choosing not to have sex with him, then you need to evaluate if you want to be in this marriage. And if there's issues that are causing you not to want to have sex, address the issues, but you need to address what those are. If it's just tired school and a messy house, that's all that you really mentioned, you talked about him getting angry, but that you didn't mention anything else about there's probably more to it, but just answering just very simply, you guys need to figure out what the actual issue is, because you should, in a healthy relationship, you will want to be with your husband. Now, I don't know, you said you're a mother of 4. If your children are really young, then there's going to be other issues that are coming into play, maybe some hormonal issues, maybe some sleep issues. There's going to be some things within yourself that just need to be conversations with your husband. And he still might get angry, but at least maybe you can communicate about them.
Yeah, 100%. And
but you should be wanting to have sex. If you are in a marriage, I don't care if you have 17 children. If he's not abusing you, and anger needs to be dealt with, but
yeah,
you should be having sex with your husband.
And I'll take that a step further for the men that are listening, and not to validate you, Brianna, just because I just believe this is real. Like, you should want your wife to want sex. This is not about validating a woman. This is literally like, I don't want Kathryn to ever check it off a to-do list ever again.
Yeah. Right.
And so you can be entitled all you want, but
the marriage, man, right?
Yeah, the man. Yeah. Oh, well, women can understand this too. Like, marriage is a license to carry, not a license to shoot. That's it. That's how I would say it for a man. I guess I wouldn't quite say it the same way for a woman, but like the idea is simple. If she doesn't want to be with you, then what are you doing that's turning her off? It's not about blowing on her ear, kissing her neck, man. It's way deeper than that. Way deeper.
And that's what I'm saying. It's not because you're tired. It's not because you have kids. It's not because you're in school. It's not because you have the messy house. There's other issues that are happening that it's making you not want to do it and not be attracted to him. And that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. And that's like everything that we do, right? Like we're not a sex-based. A lot of my content looks like I'm sex-based. That's because I think sex is the checkered flag.
Well, I think sex and marriage go together.
They do.
Like, you can't separate sex and marriage unless there's something wrong where you have to. You should not be separating sex and marriage. We go together like Rama Lama Lama. You know that song?
I don't know that song, but
you don't?
It's true. You work your way up, like, with all the different things. There's like the conversations, the banter, the fun, the partnership, like all this stuff is in place. And of course, then you're having sex, which amplifies all those other things, which is a virtuous cycle up and down this ladder, right? So somebody talk about moving in with their in-laws. Hey, listen, that's something that you guys got to be able to have a conversation about. I think that would be rough. I think that would be hard. I think it's always going to be God, your marriage, your children, and then we can talk about the in-laws, potentially.
Well, and what's the income situation? Are you moving in with the in-laws because there's an issue with money?
I thought they were moving in with them, actually, is what I think it said. But
it said moving in with the in-laws.
Oh, moving in with them. Oh.
So if you have to move in with your in-laws, it's because you're not providing. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, there's lots that would go into that. This is a totally different dynamic, but
totally. How do you stop it when it goes on for years? Anytime we sit and talk and he feels like he's in a corner, he will throw it in my face. Well, that is a lot deeper than probably what we can answer in 60 seconds, but why don't you go for it?
I know that Kathryn, if you were in her program, since you're a woman, I'll address it to you like that, she would teach you to love him through it. So even though he is, losing his mind, who do you want to be? How proud are you
Terry
of the person that's
please
responding?
Read mine. Where is Terry Christensen?
You distracted me.
Capital letters, Terry. We hear you.
I just saw it. So yeah, make sure that you are comfortable with how you're handling things and that you're showing up in a way that would lead your part. This doesn't matter who's the angry one. I love this reference. Somebody messaged me not too long ago and was like, all he ever does is call me names. And there was this whole shitstorm of this message and then a screenshot. And her message to him was, you're just a baby boy, blah, 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 blah. And then his message was, you're a fucking cunt, or you're a fucking bitch, or I can't remember. And I wrote back to her simply, I can see there's a lot of issues, But the thing that you really stood out, that you said that you wanted to, he couldn't handle the name calling. There should be respect, blah, blah, blah. You started it with, you're a baby boy.
We love the screenshots.
Like,
send us the screenshots so we can see both
it's
sides.
baby boy, whatever, fucking cunt, bitch, whatever it was.
It might not be equal, but you still opened up the door.
Well, I'm going to say it is actually equal, because that baby boy maybe is the baby boy who never got his needs met. That's if she called me a baby boy, that'd be a lot harsher than you're an asshole. Because I was never good enough as a child. Never.
Yeah.
And in my adult life, trying to figure out how to deal with that, that's a major insult. You don't even know the power. Yeah, now, the flip side is maybe you didn't do it first like this person did, but you are still responsible for your after effect. Kathryn was reactive toxic to me. So just because we're all about how abusive I was, oh my gosh, but yeah, she's still not proud of who she was when she was reactive. Right back.
Yeah, right? Not proud of it.
So you have to own that, guys.
Terry, thank you for your capital letters. We did find your message. I've been married 2 years and my husband watched porn and we never have intimacy. I'm almost done.
Yeah, porn will take, like, I personally think, here's something we didn't talk about earlier, but like, if you're watching porn, you're wasting fucking time, man. That's time you could be using to enhance the sexual energy, the tension, the positive emotional tension, the polarity, the whatever. Showing up as a partner, forget the sex side for a second. Like, what the fuck? I don't get it personally. And by the way, yeah, there's lots of good resources to get out of porn now. There's so much, but I think you should just fucking quit. Just cold turkey. So many guys have done that I've worked with.
Megan, Wednesday lives. She loves Wednesday lives. They're not back. We're gonna be super random.
Yeah, we're random right now. We are so all over the map.
We just decided to do it.
Kathryn's in the middle of a master's plus all the interview. Oh, but yeah, check this out. She did, her first 2 assignments with her new master's. What is it? 98%, 97 point something, and 100%. My gosh, and you guys are in good hands. All right.
Oh, thanks, honey. Yeah, I think we have to wrap it up, but because there's quite a lot here, so there's no way.
Okay, so today wasn't really a question day, guys.
How do I get into your program, Kathryn? I will answer that one. If you go to whitepicketfenceproject.com, so Carolina Sanchez, whitepicketfenceproject.com, you can, or briancastmorrow.com, you can find me either way. But you'll see a little video, you'll see a book now button. You can book a call with me and we can discuss my program and see if you're a good fit.
There's a question about how to rebuild trust. This is both of our programs. Trust is like an overarching thing that just happens. You don't just rebuild trust, guys. And that doesn't matter if it's a fair or if it's just the fighting. Like, there's just a lot that goes into that. Coffee and a blowjob?
Coffee and a blowjob every morning instead of a bagel. If you want the bagel, stick it on play. You'll smile every day. Okay, Nicole, power to you.
Nicole's going with her husband.
Yeah,
all
Nicole,
right.
Woo-woo.
Okay, guys. Actually, I'm going to cut it.
Not surprised, but we don't know what that is for. Yeah,
I'm going to cut it short, guys. This was not really a question.
About the grades. Haha. Thank you.
Oh.
Tiffany is
guys, part of the you've been awesome. I'll try to take a look at your questions here and hit back them over the next couple of days, but appreciate you guys. Best way to help out.
Yes, exactly. Well, it doesn't necessarily need to be at the same time.
So best way to help marriages with your program, Man Takes My Course, which is Cass, by the way. Ryan was the asshole who couldn't get laid, and Cass is me.
He goes by Cass.
Yeah, and course, Kathryn could take women's course.
So same time, if you're both on board. If you're not both on board, whoever is on board should contact, if your husband's on board, contact Cass. If you're on board, contact me. If you're both on board, contact both of us at the same time. One person needs to pave the way. Once you pave the way, you're going to inspire your partner to then soften and change. And that's when the magic happens. But if you're both on board right now, yes, contact each other.
Yeah, if you're both on board, it's obviously that's better. But our programs are designed just like we were not both on board, right? We were both.
That's why we developed it this way, because we were not on the same page at the same time.
That's right. So what we've done is, whether you're the woman in Kathryn's program, the man in my program, you inspire, you do that long enough, you're a leader. When you're leading long enough, you are in a position where you can invite or ask. And then if you do that well and it still doesn't work, we'll motivate with boundaries. And this is I think you want to do like a masterclass on this.
We are doing a masterclass. Yeah, we teach for a company called Expansion Alchemy. We're just one of the teachers with that company. Yeah. We're super blessed to be able to be on there, and we're honored. And so we're going to be doing a masterclass. I think it's April 24th, and it's on the 4-step process. So inspire, lead, invite, motivate with boundaries. So if you want to do that, we will be posting it and I'll be emailing it out, but just contact us and I'll send you the link. It's a membership. So you'd have to sign up for Expansion Alchemy. It's only $99 a month though. And you get access to us. You get access to another one of the guest speakers that comes and speaks at the White Picket Fence Project. Her name is Genevieve Searles. She's amazing. And tons of other people that are presenting, all for $99 a month. So,
or join our programs and we'll give you everything right away.
Totally, yeah.
Okay.
Just join with us.
Love you guys. Thank you very much.
Finn says goodbye.
See ya. Go get your life.